Rick Perry says Texas is open for business. Now that sure hadn't helped a million people that are unemployed and millions more struggling to get by. But for those companies that open their pockets with campaign contributions, indeed the governor's office has been open for business. We saw abuses in the enterprise fund where taxpayer dollars were given in subsidies to big businesses. Countrywide Financial, subprime lender, where Perry called it the crown jewel when it was given a big subsidy and then began laying off people. Now we find that in the Emerging Technology Fund there's also abuses, that he's used taxpayer dollars to reward political friends. It's part of a pattern of Rick Perry helping his friends and his friends helping Rick Perry. Today I'm calling on the governor to come clean with some basic answers to some simple questions. 3 about this Emerging Technology Fund as a whole, and a couple of questions about a particular deal and a particular relationship. First, Governor, make available your campaign finance fundraisers to answer questions to the press of when they contacted various donors who had interest in companies that receive subsidies from taxpayers on the Emerging Technology Fund and the Enterprise Fund. Those people who were soliciting those campaign contributions should answer questions on the public record. They certainly have the records of when those donors were contacted, what they knew about the investments, and whether they had any conversations with those donors about what they owed to Rick Perry. Second, they should release information concerning the ethics reviews that was done for each and every person on the governor's staff and on the advisory committees that had anything to do with awarding grants under both the Enterprise Fund and the Emerging Technology Fund. Was that ethics review and the conflict of interest policies clear to all who were involved from the outset? Or did they allow gray areas, or worse, to appear so that people could use their positions of public authority to be part of a political machine? And third, this is the most important. Today, just put on the website, released to the public, the performance measures that were used for each of these subsidies that were given to the various companies. You know, in business, every month you review the financial statements with the employees and the management. Public companies are required to report quarterly to be accountable to their shareholders, to the public, for how they are doing, what their goals were, what they've met in terms of their goals. Teachers in our schools are required, are held accountable based upon the standardized test scores of their students. Well, where's the accountability? For each of the particular grants, what was the goal? Did we invest on terms that were competitive with the private sector investors? Did private sector investors get a better deal than the taxpayers of the state of Texas when they put money in these funds? How many jobs have been created? How many of these companies have failed? How many would have succeeded without this money based upon some criteria that was used in advance? What was done to ensure that this was based on results and not politics? These are if they have no performance measures, they should say so. And we know that it was run in an unbusinesslike fashion for political gain. If they do have performance measures, they ought to make those available to the public. If they have to think about it, whether to release the performance measures and the use of public funds, well, that's a sure sign that they're avoiding accountability and we need a new governor. Finally, there are some very troubling new facts that have come out concerning the relationship of Mr. Nance, Governor Perry, and his family. Rick Perry should answer right now. Right now. Mr. Nance and his business ventures and this company Introgen, which was involved in the Texas A&M system, and signed a memorandum. 2 simple questions. Did this deal with Introgen circumvent the normal Texas Texas A&M system requirements for procurements and for joint ventures. Was this something that came up through the faculty and the staff of the A&M, or was it imposed from above? And who said what to whom when on that deal? And second, let's go back to that blind trust. Just when did Mr. Perry and members of his family sell their stock in energy? Oh, sure. I mean, look, Rick Perry is in it for his own reelection. Whatever you want to call it, anybody who lives in this extravagant mansion, far greater than anything any Texas governor's had, who has, you know, just this last June on his big trip to China, there was hundreds of thousands of security expenses and security guards he takes with him on Caribbean trips and all that stuff. Extravagant taxpayer-funded lifestyle, and then uses tax dollars to subsidize hand-picked companies. Meanwhile, the state's debt has grown by 2.5 times, and the pension liabilities have exploded. Whatever you call that, it's not conservative.